Hello, friends. Now, the major discussion point in India and also around the world is President Donald Trump's trade war or tariff war, and particularly, President Trump has imposed 50% tariff on all the Indian imported products to USA. How is it going to affect India's trade with USA? That we are going to discuss today. So, uh, we will discuss actually why Trump is angry on India that at the end, but then let us know how much trade India is doing with USA, and we'll compare India's trade with USA with the total trade that India does. So, if you see the total volume of India's trade, particularly we start with the merchandise, the goods, actually, you can say, and we are discussing in rupee terms. I should also tell you that this data I have taken from Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India, India's dashboard. Anyone can access this data online. India exports about 37 lakh crore rupees worth merchandise to the entire world, and it imports 60 lakh 89,000 crore or 60 lakh 90,000 crore rupees worth commodities from all over the world. And that's how we have a trade deficit in merchandise about 23 or 24 lakh crore rupees. So we import more than we export to the entire world, and that's how we have a huge amount of trade deficit. And this is the overall trend that you can see from 2016-17 to the present, how India's foreign trade has behaved. And we see that during COVID-19 in 2019-20, the trade had gone down, and after that it has again gone up, and we are exporting less than what we are importing. That's why there is a trade deficit. And we can interpret the data up to 2024-25 because for 2025-26, although we see a downward trend, this is because we have not got the full year data. So that's why we should analyze the 2024-25 data. And we see that after COVID-19, our trade volume has increased, and this should be interpreted in the context of the major wars are going on between Ukraine and Russia and Israel and Palestine, and there is a lot of uncertainty going on around the world. So this is actually our mercantile export, and we all know that India is a major exporter of services, and we have a trade balance in the service sector, and we export about 32.79 lakh crore worth services to the entire world, and we import 16.80 lakh crore worth services from all over the world. And that's there is a trade balance of almost 16 lakh crore or 15.99 lakh crore. Since we have a trade surplus in the service sector in the service trade, it is somehow compensating the deficits that we have in the merchandise. In the merchandise, we have almost 24 lakh crore rupees worth deficit, and in service sector, we have about 16 lakh crore. So we have a net deficit of about 8 lakh crore in the current account. And as a percentage of GDP, the trade deficit of India is about in the current account is about 1.2% of the GDP, which is not a very big number. And if we see the regions or the countries with whom we are trading, then if we see the export, India exports maximum value worth goods and services to the USA, which is 7.32 lakh crore or 7 point almost 33 lakh crore worth commodities to USA. and the second trade partner of India is United Arab Emirates, and then the third one is the Netherlands, fourth one is UK, and fourth one is China Republic. So if you see the export value and touch the top five countries where actually India exports, and if we see the import actually from which countries India is importing the maximum commodities, then it is China People's Republic, Chinese People's Republic. From here, we import 9.59 lakh crore rupees worth commodities. And then the second one trading partner is Russia because we import a lot of crude oil, particularly after the Ukraine war. We are importing more petrol from Russia. And then the third one is again United Arab Emirates. From here, again, we are importing a lot of crude oil. And then the fourth one is USA. So remember, actually, we are exporting maximum to USA, but we are importing no, not much actually from USA. And then the fifth import destination for India is Saudi Arab. So these are actually the top trading partners in terms of export and import. And if you see the deficit, the BOT is balance of trade, and we have maximum trade surplus with USA. We have trade surplus with Netherlands, which means we import less than what we export to these countries. So we have trade surplus with USA, Netherlands, Bangladesh, Nepal, UK, and also many other countries, and then Sri Lanka, Mexico. So with all these countries, these are the top, say, 7, 8 countries with whom we have the maximum trade surplus. And these are the countries with whom we have maximum trade deficit. And the maximum trade deficit is with China, followed by Russia, United Arab Emirates, Iraq, Switzerland, Saudi Arab, Indonesia, Korea, even Germany. With all these countries, we have the trade deficit of this order. So these are all in negative numbers. Then we are going to compare India USA foreign trade with the total trade that we are doing. So we are exporting 7 uh, lakh 32 thousand crore worth commodities to USA, and we are importing only 3 lakh 83,000 crore worth commodities from USA. So that's how we maintain a trade surplus of almost 3.5 lakh crore. So there is a huge trade surplus with USA. So we are exporting more than what we import from USA. And since we are more worried about actually this tariff imposed in India, so we should know if India exports 100 rupees to the entire world, how much share USA has in the total trade of India. Similarly, if India imports say 100 rupees, what is the share of USA? And there actually we see that USA's so India's export to USA has 20% share in India's total foreign trade or India's total export. And in terms of import, whatever we import from all the countries, USA has 6% share. So in terms of export destination, definitely USA contributes 20 percentage to India's total export, and USA contributes only 6% to India's import. So that's how Trump is actually worried about this, that we are doing very little trade with USA, and this is the data that we see. And so when you say that whether imposition of tariff on India's export, whether it will affect India's trade or not, definitely if it is one-fifth share, then definitely we should be worried about it. And that is actually what is the major point of discussion in the entire country. So this is the trend of India's trade with USA, that over the years, say, this data shows from 2016-17 to the present, it has steadily increased. And during COVID-19 also, what we see that our export was not actually much, it was definitely affected, but not much. And rather our import was slowed down, but then our export continued. And although we can interpret only up to 2024-25 because 2025-26 data are not yet available. That's why we see a downward trend, and this should not be misunderstood. So we see a rising trend in the exports to USA, but 2020 to 23 onwards, there is a slowdown in India's import from USA. And if you see the principal commodities that we export to USA, then telecom instruments contribute the maximum, that is 92,000 crore. 92.76 thousand crore is a huge amount of telecom instruments we export. Then drug formulation in generic medicine is a major export, and India, the American consumers benefit largely from this. So when Mr. Trump imposes a tariff on these products, definitely their consumers are going to be affected, particularly their healthcare will be definitely affected, because I don't think actually there is a better substitute for India's generic medicine at a low cost. Actually, we have seen during COVID-19, we exported maximum vaccines to the entire world. That's how here actually American consumers are going to be significantly affected, and this is huge amount, 82,192 crore rupees. Then pearl, precious metals, and semi-precious metals we are exporting, and then petroleum products. These are mostly refined petroleum products, gold and other precious metals. Then cotton and products of iron and steel, and cotton fabrics, electronic machineries, and marine products. So these are our major exports to the USA. And similarly, if you see the major no items that we're importing from America, then it is again petroleum, crude petroleum we are importing, which is 55,000 crore. And if we see actually what we are exporting, petroleum products refined actually is about 34,000 crore. So at least we should understand that we are importing more crude oil from America than we are exporting to them, particularly in terms of processed or refined petroleum products. So our major exports are only telecom instruments and drug formulation, which are generic medicines. And then we also import coal. Then we import pearls and precious metals, and gold. We import then electric machineries, electronic components, aircraft, spacecraft, computer hardware, organic chemicals. So we import basically, we can say high tech products from them, and we export the telecom instruments, drugs. Are of course actually called high tech product because a lot of research and development components are involved here. So they have separate comparative advantage, and we have different comparative advantage. So that's how actually we are doing trade with America. And if you see the trade deficit, BOT is balance of trade. We have a lot of trade surplus in these sectors. That means whatever we are exporting in telecom instruments and whatever we are importing, we are a net exporter in telecom sector. Drug formulation, we are net exporter. Gold, we are net exporter. Cotton, we are exporter. Pearl, products of iron, cotton, and textile, marine products, we are net exporter to the America. And what are we importing? We are net importer from America, alcoholic beverage and medical and scientific instruments, then ship, boat and floating materials, then aircraft, spacecraft, plastic raw materials, fresh fruits also we are importing from America, and we are a net importer. Then we have computer hardware we are importing, gold we are a net importer, coal we are importing from America. So these are the products actually, top products I am only saying. There are other products that we are net importer from America. So it's not that we are only exporting. So there are some sectors where we are the net importer from America. And if you see the tariffs that is imposed by America and India, although someone can analyze all product-wise tariffs that is imposed, but then I took actually data from World Bank website, and I checked the weighted average tariff that is imposed by America and India. Then we see that both India's and America's weighted average tariffs have gone down in the recent years, particularly from 2019 to 2022, for which data are available. India's weighted average tariff has declined from 6.59 to 4.59, in 2022. US's weighted average tariff has also declined from 13.78 to 1.49. So if you see the recent years data, then we see that India's weighted average tariff is higher than that of USS. And of course, this can be different in the sense that India is a developing country and it needs to protect its industries for their growth. And particularly, Prime Minister Modi has said India is ready to pay any price because we have to protect our farmers and say MSME sectors. We cannot allow foreign countries to come and ruin our market. So this is the status of weighted average tariff of India and US. So this gives a comparative picture that definitely India, on an average, is imposing a higher tariff than the USA. That's why Trump is saying that actually, he's going to hike the tariff on India because there is a huge trade deficit for America. And Trump is worried about India-Russia relationship. That's why we need to also understand the India-Russia trade, how much India is importing and exporting from America, from Russia. So here we see that India is having huge amount of trade deficit with Russia, and we export 40,000 crore worth commodities to Russia, and we are importing 5 lakh 39,000 crore worth commodities, and this is mostly crude oil, and we'll see that in the next graph. And this has happened in the recent years only. So we are importing way larger than what we are exporting to Russia, and then so there is a huge amount of trade deficit that is 4.97 lakh crore, or we can say 5 lakh crore worth trade deficit we have with Russia. So this is a graph of trend of India-Russia trade relationship from 2016-17 to 2024-25. We can analyze this data from this graph. So what we see is that after 2021-22, or that means from 2020 to 23, India's import value has jumped significantly. Earlier, we used to import a little higher than what we used to export to Russia. The trade deficit used to be less, but then after the Ukraine war, we are importing way larger. Actually, from 2020 to 23, it has jumped up like say 4 times, because from 73,000 crore rupees worth import to now 5 lakhs. So it's 5 times jump import as well has happened in last 3 years, and it is because Russia agreed to supply us low cost petroleum products. And but of course, actually, in a comparative perspective, Europe and America also import significantly from Russia, and there are different other than the petroleum products. They import quite a large amount of other items. So it's not that India is only importing from Russia. In spite of the war, the Europe and America also continue to import oil and other materials from Russia. So yes, India has significantly increased, and Trump is worried that okay, this fund is utilized for the war with Ukraine. But then on that note, we should also know that America plays actually hypocritical role because it exports all the war goods to the major countries that are fighting wars, say whether it is Ukraine and whether it is Israel or it is Pakistan. First of all, America should stop doing all these hypocritic things. Then it can talk about India's trade with Russia. And then if you see the principal commodities that we are exporting to Russia, then we are exporting computer hardware, again drug. So our generic medicine are actually are major exports to major countries, even America and Russia. Then we have residual chemical, then telecom instruments, and machineries and processed minerals, ceramic, and then iron and steel, marine products, and bulk drugs. So similar products are exported to Russia, like that of America. And if you consider the import that we are importing from Russia, then it is crude oil, and that's the maximum. And then coal, coke, petroleum products, vegetable oils, particularly sunflower oil, we import from Russia and Ukraine, and then fertilizer manufacturing products, and then project goods, pearl and precious metals, and then iron and steel and pulses. We also import from them, and then other crude minerals. So these are the major importable items from Russia, and so major contributor is petroleum products. 4 lakh 24,000 crore worth commodities from yeah, petroleum products from Russia. And if you see the trade deficit sector-wise with Russia, then we have a huge, okay, we have a trade surplus in computer hardware, drug formulation, residual chemicals, telecom instruments, processed minerals, and then machinery products, ceramic and marine products, bulk drugs, and so on. So we have trade surplus here. And the deficit, maximum trade deficit is in coal, coke, and then we have petroleum products, vegetable oils, fertilizer, processed goods, pearl and pulses, iron, steel, and other crude minerals. So we are net importer from Russia in these sectors. These are major sectors. There are other sectors where we have trade deficit with Russia also. So this is actually what it is, the trade relationship between USA and Russia, India and Russia, and India and America. Now coming to the end, why is America or President Trump angry on India? People say that okay, in fact, America an economy is probably going through a major crisis. They have a huge amount of current account deficit. In fact, India's current account deficit as a percentage of GDP is only 1.2 percentage, but the current account deficit of America is 4.2 percentage. So almost four times current account deficit America has. But America is able to finance all this current account deficit because America does the trade with its own currency. That's how it is able to finance easily. That's why it was not worried for a long time. But now in America is worried and it wants to reduce the current account deficit because it is facing inflationary pressure and it is facing unemployment and its growth rates are slowing down. So that's why America wants to restructure its economy by increasing its production base and reduce the current account deficit so that it can reduce the inflationary pressure and it can generate more employment by doing more production within the country instead of importing from other countries. So that is one factor. Then the other factor on which actually, okay, people are saying that Trump might be worried. Trump, as per the White House, press, release, we see that, they are almost actually claiming actually a peace prize, a peace Nobel Prize, and Pakistan is ready to nominate Mr. Trump for Nobel Peace Prize, and because Trump claims that Trump has stopped the war between India and Pakistan after Operation Sindoor, and Trump is trying hard to stop the war between Russia and Ukraine, and is also trying hard to stop the war between Israel and Palestine and Israel and Iran. But India has clearly refuted that America has played no role to stop the war between India and Pakistan. So that might have shattered the dream of Mr. Trump to get the Nobel Prize in peace. And then Ukraine-Russia war is not stopping. Trump had said that when he came to power, he said that I will convince Mr. Putin to stop the war, but then that has also not happened. Similarly, Israel and Palestine war still continues. People have died and people are suffering in hunger. So, and then Iran and Israel war also is continuing because, and America has also played a role in it. So, in such a situation, it is quite hypocritical to say that Donald Trump is expecting a peace prize in Nobel and Nobel Peace Prize. So, if that is the reason, then I don't think so that is quite mature decision. And although Mr. Trump has taken the excuse that India is financing the Russia and Ukraine war by buying cheap petrol from Russia. Trump knows that, although he has said that I don't know, but it is fact that Russia and America they import quite a larger amount from Russia than what actually India imports. So I think America should not do this, and in fact, it is going to hurt American people because the generic medicine and telecom products are imported at a lower price from India, and that is going to affect American consumers. So their inflation rate is going to rise further because in a short notice, definitely they cannot start producing. Even importing from other countries will not be easy. So although Trump is saying that I'm going to make America great again, in fact, Mr. Trump is hurting American economy. So I hope Trump will realize his mistake very soon and reduce the tariff rates on India and also across the world. And for India, America has never been a reliable trade partner or even strategic partner with India. Russia has been always a reliable partner, whether it is strategic reason or trade or say in war good industries. Russia has been always a reliable partner, so we should definitely continue our trade relations with Russia, and at the same time, we also need to find out new markets. We cannot actually rely upon USA because although it remains a major destination, we have to find out new destinations, particularly South-South relationship. We have to strengthen, and we have to strengthen the relationship with Africa, particularly because Africa needs India's help, and also Africa has a huge population, and so we need to really develop our trade relationship with Africa, and also we need to strengthen our relationship with BRICS countries because BRICS countries. You have huge population. So wherever there is huge population, and these are also growing economies. These are the drivers of the world economic growth. So we need to strengthen our trade relationship with these countries so that even if America doesn't import from our countries or impose a huge tariff, our trades will not be affected. And India should definitely continue its efforts to strengthen its Atmanirbhar initiative, so that we become self-reliant and whatever we are importing from America, we should actually reduce definitely the import. So I'm sure Trump will realize his mistake and reduce these tariff rates, and India also will continue to diversify its trade markets. Thank you for watching this video on my YouTube channel. You may subscribe my YouTube channel if you like this video. Thank you so much.